trying to roll that in. Bouanga with the strike. Bouanga scores.
We live?
Can he spin? Goes down. Play continues. Shot. Goal. Leon.
Night 4 of the Audi 2022 MLS Cup playoffs. Oh, it delivered. On the banks of the Delaware, the Philadelphia Union, they are going to the conference final for the second year in a row, and they're hosting the thing. Yeah, big up, you sons of Ben. And sha-la-la-la-la-la-la, LAFC. It hurts me. I have an LA Galaxy throne. But LAFC, thanks to Chicho Arango late and Dennis Bouanga, his second and third goals in Major League Soccer are moving on. El Tráfico never misses. I'm Andrew Wiebe in the AT&T 5G virtual studios with Matt Doyle, Calen Carr, and Charlie Davies. All the highlights to come. Interviews from both matches, guys. Charlie, this is the playoff sweat, man. This is it. And El Tráfico always delivers. What a game that was we just witnessed.
What a game. Are we kidding with ourselves right now? LAFC, number 1 seed, made people sweat, but it was the DP who came through, Denny Bouanga. Are you kidding me? The brace. What I loved about him is just how his team needed him to step up. No Gareth Bale. Carlos Vela is going down with cramps. It's Denny Bouanga who was magic with his runs and then making sure he just finishes when he gets the opportunity.
Silence, guys? Don't have any feelings, no thoughts, no emotions?
They're stunned.
Come on. It just didn't. It's like it took your breath away, this game, apparently. Calen, how does it make you feel knowing you've been in positions like this before, to see them go through that, to know that we expect something like that, and to have this game always deliver?
Yeah, I mean, El Tráfico, you should just bank there's going to be at least 4 goals, maybe more, who knows? I mean, this was just end-to-end stuff. I thought the tactical battle was really interesting. The substitutions came on, of course, made a big difference. Joveljic, I think he touched the ball in the first 90 seconds. He hit it into the upper net. And then Arango at the end, I mean, cements his place as a club legend. When you have Landon Donovan calling you a club legend for the team across town, you've done something right. So, I mean, El Tráfico, what else can you say? It always delivers.
Yeah, Lennon sounded like a Galaxy Hall of Famer calling this game, didn't he? A little bit at the end there.
A little speechless like you guys too, huh? Like, air got let out of the building a tad.
Yeah, just a little bit. But for 65 minutes, I was thinking like, oh man, is El Tráfico gonna leave us a little bit flat here, because it was a playoff sweat type of game, but then it wasn't, and it was El Tráfico again, and this is one for the books, man.
Chicho Arango, afterwards, you saw him on the field, if you're watching the FS1 broadcast, on his knees, sort of thanking, looking to the heavens. This is a moment he needed. This is sort of manna from heaven for him. A guy that earlier in the season, there were a lot of rumors around. Are they going to move Chicho Arango? Will he even be on this team? He finished his regular season with 16 goals. This is his first playoff goal. You mentioned Denny Bouanga, Charlie. He has been snake bit in front of goal, and he starts the scoring. LA Galaxy come right back just before halftime. Then it's Denny Bouanga again. Then it's Dejan Joveljic, and then it's Chicho Arango. 3-2. You think back to 2019. It was 5-3 in that one, and LAFC win as well. What does this mean for LAFC, Calen? Not just to do it to go to the conference final, all the pressure they have on them for MLS Cup, but to do it against this Galaxy team.
Well, it's huge because this Galaxy team has been one of the hottest teams in the league. They came in form. They came in playing well, beating Nashville, and then with a little bit less pressure or expectations because LAFC are the Supporters Shield winners, and they were playing at home, and so they were going to have to set the tone. I thought the Galaxy were the better team in the first half, really came out and played well, went down a goal, but that felt a little bit against the run of play, and then Grandsir gets them back level. Joveljic punches back, and you think, okay, now this is going deeper into the match. No Vela. What's going to happen? Things might actually start to tilt a little bit more towards the Galaxy. And then the Galaxy fall asleep on a set piece. And credit to Arango and Bouanga, who's fantastic. I mean, he's sort of lost some of the headlines compared to Chiellini and Bale, but he has some of the most important goals in LAFC history. The one on decision day or before decision day to win the Supporter Shield, 2 tonight, and then also creates the one that goes to Arango on the decisive one in this one.
Yeah, he created that, and also Kwadwo Opoku has to be given his props for this game, because when Vela came off, like we thought going into this game, okay, Vela comes off, Bale comes on. That's the way it's going to work. Bale couldn't go tonight. Vela comes off in about the 70th, 75th minute. Opoku came on and he changed the game. LAFC were better once he came on because his pressing, it led to the third goal, and his ability to dive into the box and be an extra runner in the box. If you look at the second Bouanga goal, it's actually Opoku who gets a touch on it. So having that kind of depth, having players with different skill sets that Steve Cherundolo can mix and match with, it's just such a weapon. It gives LAFC such an advantage, and it ended up being the defining aspect of this game because it won the game for the black and gold. And you get to this point where your changes in the second half are winning a game. You tip your hat as the coach, and you think your guys that you brought off the bench, you get ready for the next round.
That's the first playoff win for Steve Cherundolo in his first year as a head coach in MLS. So some news coming off this as we wait for the highlights. We have interviews coming for you. Susanna Collins at Bank of California Stadium. She will bring you a little flavor from there in just a little bit. We had Jillian Sakovits in Chester tonight as Philly won 1-0 and set up 2-1 seeds advancing to their conference final. More on Sunday. But we do know that one team cannot host the MLS Cup. Apologies to all you Giant Taco enthusiasts out there. Austin fans are in my mentions right now saying, we have the technology. We can make giant tacos too. It will not be in Dallas, though. MLS Cup will be in one of the top 5 teams in the Supporters Shield standings this year. It'll be in LA, maybe at LAFC at the Bank, maybe in Chester if Philly go all the way, and LAFC don't. Montreal have a chance. Austin have a chance. New York City have a chance as well. We will see where MLS Cup is hosted on November 5th. I'm still in awe, Charlie. I'm still in awe at this game's ability to deliver. What do you think it is about this particular rivalry? What makes it so special? Why is it that we just don't seem to have a stinker when these two teams get together?
Well, it's a city that has 2 big teams. Galaxy have 5 championships. They typically get the biggest stars. LAFC coming into town, they couldn't be some little brother. They also had to bring the firepower. So typically Hollywood, bright lights, LA, you need to have 2 big clubs with 2 big personalities. And that's why you get these type of performances, because it's a real rivalry and everyone's trying to say, hey, yeah, Galaxy, you've been the team, but now there's a new team in LA. So that is always going to exist with those 2 clubs. And I don't want to take away from 2 big performances tonight outside of the star players. Cifuentes and Palacios for LAFC were awesome. I mean, Cifuentes, all the tackles he was making, the passes in the final third, but Palacios kept possession, was active. He had the most touches in the game. I just thought those 2 players in particular had a massive influence on LAFC's victory tonight.
What a win it was. On they go. They await their opponent. It will be from Copa Tejas, Austin, Dallas. 2 teams that'll go meet up in a rivalry match in the playoffs on Sunday, and then NYCFC and Montreal will follow. All right, we've got interviews coming. We've got highlights coming. We're waiting for those as well. Doyle, take me through. Who's the man of the match here? Is it Bouanga? Is it Chicho? Who is it for you?
I mean, it's got to be Bouanga. He set the tone for LAFC, and you know when you play the Galaxy that they're going to have flying fullbacks. They're going to send them both forward, so your wingers are going to get chances. And the question with Bouanga wasn't whether he was going to find those chances, but whether he was going to finish them, because he was really impressive in a lot of ways during the regular season. Finishing was not one of them. He did not put the ball in the back of the net other than once. And of course, it was a very remarkable, very necessary goal that sealed them the Supporters Shield up in Portland. But other than that, it was barren. So a big question going into this game was whether or not he could put the ball in the back of the net. He answered that, and that set the tone. Now, granted, the Galaxy answered back. The Galaxy, I think, have showed down the stretch and then in this game that they're a much better team than they were 2.5 months ago. Like, they have come together. We've talked ad nauseum about the additions they made during the summer window. Well, the reason we talked about that is because of the way they played tonight. This was a really good team on both sides of the ball, though I would say much better with the ball than without. They have to work on that heading into 2023. But when they come out and play, they give you the opportunity to get in behind, and that's what Bouanga did. That set the tone for the game. He's the man of the match. But I mean, I'm in love with what Opoku did coming off the bench, because he could have pouted as soon as those DPs got there in the summer, because it meant he was never going to really play a big role again. He didn't. He kept in the game. He kept forcing Steve Cherundolo to put him on the field in big spots. And now in the biggest spot in the season, he was arguably the key man for the last 20 minutes. It's just such a wonderful story for him and for LAFC.
Wow, that depth goes deep. Let's take a look at the highlights. See how this thing went down. 3-2 LAFC. Boy, yeah. Soccer head. You got the jersey too. You got the makeup on the back of your head. You've got absolutely everything. And look, it was a big moment early on, Calen. We disagreed about this. I said that's a chest bump. There's not a headbutt there. What do you think?
I don't see many people like chest bumping with their head leading forward.
His head
there.
is back. It's back. That's a natural motion.
Look, I don't think we're going to see eye to eye on this one. We can agree, not a smart play there from Puig. I think he was lucky to escape with just a yellow card.
Puig.
Off the crossbar here.
Wait,
well done.
Wiebe, are you
Get
saying
one
that was
later.
just a chest on chest?
I think it's chest on chest. We can debate it later. But here's Denny Bawanga. Charlie,
Thank you,
what do you think of this one?
Yeah.
What a move this is from LAFC, and a front flip? That's a celebration.
19 pass buildup to this goal. Just absolutely gorgeous. It was a throwback. LAFC have not scored a lot of goals like this one this year with this type of movement in possession. Well, they saved it for tonight, and just strength and technique from Bawanga to hold off Araujo, put the ball in the back of the net, and then land the flip.
How easy is that, Charlie? Is that easy?
The flip?
Yeah.
The flip is not easy.
No,
that
it's
is not
easy.
an easy goal celebration. But I loved his strength in the body positioning, because it was lazy defending from Galaxy. They tried to get the leg in there and the body. Nope. Denny Bawanga said, "I've been in the gym, man. Let's go."
This is
And
not
then
easy either. Samuel Grandsierra.
They
nice
responded.
hit.
It's a fantastic finish.
Galaxy pushing. It's 1-1 after half. Free kick. No. Here comes Maxime Crépeau. Yes. Gets a piece. Huge moment for LAFC. They're holding on at this point, Calen. Really, Galaxy had the better of the play.
Yeah, he had to get this right and timed it just perfectly. Crépeau, incredible pickup on the offseason. We're seeing it in the playoffs.
And Denny Bawanga again. Back post. Julian Araujo drawn out. Turnover. Good play. It means so much to him. You see him looking at the sky. He's been waiting for these moments. He's had the opportunities. He hasn't gotten the goals. Well, LAFC are up 2-1, Doyle. So that's, dust it off. Hit the showers, right? This game's over. Nope. Dejan Jovic.
Yeah. I mean, this is arguably an even better buildup than we saw on the first LAFC goal, because it's about 12 or 13 passes. Victor Vasquez gets right into the middle of that LAFC shape, and then he rifles it. I think that's meant for Chicharito. Jovic says, absolutely not. I'm taking this one, and then he lasers it upper 90. We've been talking all year that this guy needs more minutes. They have to figure out a way next year to get him and Chicharito on the field together as often as possible.
And then in the end, Charlie, where are the Galaxy defenders? They're not where Chicho Arango is. This is just a huge goal. It's a poacher's goal. What do you see on this play?
I see a lot of ball watching from the LA Galaxy defenders. And I see a hungry striker waiting to pounce, waiting for that loose ball. As you can see, to the back post, it comes back across. Nice shot. But look at the Galaxy players. No one's reacting. Reactions are key. Be proactive. And just in case the ball goes over your head, you have to look at everyone's standing. They think the game's over. And at those moments in matches, the big matches, where you have a lapse. This is exactly where Galaxy have been sleeping. No one's moving. No one's anticipating a shot or a rebound, and they pay the biggest price. The
ultimate price. LAFC moving on to the conference finals. You can see the joy. You can see the relief as well. Kellen Acosta caught up with Susanna Collins after this match. Let's hear what she has to say.
I see you brought your beautiful son here to share this moment. Listen to these fans. You guys get the win. You're moving on against your crosstown rivals. Can you describe what this feels like?
Yeah, I mean, it was an electric game, a game that had a little bit of everything, but the resilience of the group, we battled for 90 minutes. The hero right here, my man Chicharron. But no, I mean, it was a playoff game for sure. I mean, credit to the Galaxy. I mean, they gave us a great game. It was from 90 plus minutes. But yeah, like I said, I'm proud of the boys, and we move on.
Calen, appreciate the time. Enjoy this with him. Thank you.
Those are the best moments. Got his son on his in his arms on the field. Moving on, they'll do it again. In just a little bit more than a week's time. A little bit of a note from Gio Garcia over at LA Soccer Hub. Does a great podcast on both teams. Said Kellen Acosta, ahead of tonight's game, bought tickets for the entire back office staff that work at the training facility at LAFC. That's kitchen workers, janitors, anybody who's working at that facility. Kellen Acosta bought them tickets for this game tonight, and they got to witness that. True sign of leadership there. True sign of I think maybe more than we thought that they had, Doyle, at times. Like we had thought maybe this was a soft team. They showed a little bit more resiliency in this one than some might expect, even for a Shield winner.
Even for a Shield winner, because they got pushed and they bent and they didn't quite break in this one. But it felt after Jovic made it 2-2 that it was all Galaxy. That the Galaxy were destined to take LA back from LAFC, but it didn't work out like that. And these guys deserve a lot of credit for it. And I think that's what John Thornton went for last winter. He went out and he got guys like Kellen Acosta and Ilie Sanchez and Maxime Crepeau, Ryan Hollingshead, real MLS veterans who have been there before, who have played high leverage games, be it in the playoffs or Shield winning games before. And it's paid off. They've got one trophy already. We know that they have their eyes on the second. And look, this team, we know they have match winners. It was more a question of, in these moments, can they be tough to beat? And I think they proved tonight that even though they didn't play great, they let the Galaxy back into the game. They still proved to be really tough to beat. And that's a pretty good combination for this time of year.
Yeah, and all those guys you mentioned had important moments. I mentioned Maxime Crepeau. You saw the big save that he times right. Kellen was big across the field, understanding when to move the ball, how to keep control of it. Ryan Hollinghead had the assist that went across to Bouanga. He was good getting forward down that right-hand side. I thought LAFC were a little bit better when they actually pushed the game and were a little more assertive. At times at the beginning of the match, they gave the Galaxy too much space, too much time, conceded possession, and the Galaxy were happy to do that. Once they were able to go the other way and turn around Julian Araujo, make him turn into a defender, and really see if you could turn the other direction, that's when we started to see them finding a little bit more success, finding some joy. And I thought Bouanga was definitely a big part of that. He had on that left-hand side with that matchup, he was able to really, really ask some difficult questions of the Galaxy back line, and they just couldn't cope with him as the game went on.
3-2 is your final after a 5-3 in 2019. These two teams coming together in the playoffs and making magic. We knew that was going to happen. Denis Bouanga, Charlie, this is not a guy that we had seen this from before. What changed in this match?
The importance of the match for Denis Bouanga. No Gareth Bale. I think he had enough time to settle in and understand how to have success with his teammates, knowing the tendencies and just getting a good understanding of the athleticism in this league and the movements and how he can get at teams. This player is going to be a problem in this league. Next year, a full season under his belt, a full preseason. You're starting to get a taste of what he's capable of. He's not even close to his ceiling, which is scary for this LAFC team. But what you love about him is his touch, his touches, his first touch, his awareness, and then just the confidence to drive at people on the ball. There's not a hesitancy from him. It's I have confidence. I'm going to be aggressive, and he has that freedom. When a player of that quality has freedom, it's scary.
2 goals. That makes it 3 now. As we said, a massive one on the day before decision day, let's say, against the Portland Timbers to deliver the first piece of silverware this year for LAFC. That would be the Supporters Shield. We are now going to see whether or not it can be MLS Cup, and that is the ultimate goal as well. Let's ask what happened to the Galaxy, Doyle. What happened here? Is this a symptom of the entire year, or is this just this game they lost? They lost focus in a big moment.
I'm not going to say that they lost to a better team, though they did lose focus in 3 big moments. I think they lost to a more versatile team. LAFC can beat you with a 19-pass buildup. They can beat you on a set piece. They can beat you in transition. They can check all those boxes, and I don't think they're as good as the 2019 LAFC team were at their peak, but they're more multifaceted. And the Galaxy just aren't there yet. They can't deal with all those different phases of play. And that's not unusual for any team. It's especially not unusual for a team that was remade in midseason. I think when Greg Vanney goes to the drawing board this offseason, he's going to see a lot of stuff that he likes, because there were long moments of this game where the Galaxy were the better team, but they couldn't flex out of their strengths and into the areas where they're weaker and still maintain the type of tactical cohesion that I think the best teams do. And that will be priority number one this offseason, is to figure out how to be a team that can possess and have 60% possession and use the ball to crack the game open, but still not be so vulnerable in transition moments, or can defend on the back foot, but not defend in the keeper's lap like we saw in the first goal. So it's just LAFC being a more complete product at this point in the year. I think that more than anything else was the difference between these two teams. But the Galaxy don't have much to hang their heads about. And given the state of this roster, I think they got a lot to be excited for 2023.
All right, Greg Vanney won't be happy in it here. This is it for the Galaxy, end of the line. There's still more to come for Steve Cherundolo. Here's what he told Susanna Collins after this massive win.
Oh my goodness, Steve Cherundolo, physical, fiery. I am losing words to describe what happens every time these two teams get together. But how would you describe this match?
Yeah, a little bit of craziness. For me, it's MLS at its best. There's emotions, there's goals, there's passion. There's some good football along the way, although in playoffs, far and few between, unfortunately. But we're very proud of the boys tonight, their effort, the mentality. So it's a good night altogether.
To give up the lead twice, but then to consistently find your way back into this one, I feel like that has been kind of this team's mojo all season long. Have you been able to get there mentally?
It's hard work. It's every day. It's messages every day, communicating with the group. We are strong. We're a very strong unit. We worked on that all year. And what we saw tonight, again, the second half. We've been a second half team all year. A very proud performance second half.
You're 2 games shy, I know, of the ultimate goal. What does the next week look like for you guys as you prepare to move on?
First and foremost, recover physically and mentally. It's a big up. So you have to be sure not to come too far down, but we'll recover, we'll be fine. And then we're focused on the next game at hand.
How are you going to celebrate tonight, Steve?
With my 2 little girls over there.
Amazing, a family affair. Congratulations. Appreciate the time.
Family night at Bank of California Stadium. They'll do it again in a little bit more than a week's time. It'll be one of Austin or Dallas. Charlie, who do you think LAFC wants more? These two teams face off on Sunday for the privilege.
If you had to choose one, I think you'd rather play Austin if you're LAFC. Dallas just have some X factors when everyone's healthy. Areola, Jesus Ferreira, Sebastian Lletget, Paxton Palmagal. I think there's more options to hurt you instead of Austin FC, which, they have one player, really, just one player who can hurt you. And I think Dallas has a little bit more versatility.
Not the 2 seed. Calen, wouldn't be Austin. Who do you think makes for the juicier matchup?
I actually don't think it'll matter much to LAFC. I think this was the one match that I had circled where I had some real concerns and fears for them, because as the 1 seed, I always worry about a team playing against another one that's come in and has that playoff sweat and has that confidence going. I think LAFC started a little slow today, and the Galaxy were the better team in the first half. But I think now that they've gotten past that and they've gotten that sort of off their back, and it's their crosstown rival and all that. You saw the atmosphere at the crowd tonight. Whoever they're playing is going to have to come to the Bank of California and play them there. So you put that together, it's looking good for LAFC. And if that's the case, Cup might be in Los Angeles. I'm not going to book it yet. I think there's still a ton to go, but I think for today we saw both number 1 seeds win. And for and I think for LAFC, going against the crosstown rival made it pretty complicated.
Yeah, 2 games, 2 losses versus Austin. Just saying, boys. 2 games, 2 losses.
That's not nothing. All right, let's take a look
at
how
the team 3 times.
Going to the bank. We'll see if it's
I
Austin
think
or Dallas.
if they had to choose, it would be Austin.
All right, Sunday. 8 p.m. Eastern, ESPN, Austin, Dallas, playing for that privilege to be at the bank. Let's take a closer look at the Western Conference bracket, how things have gone down so far. You see LA Galaxy move on. They get the matchup they wanted. They can't get it done. 90 plus 3 minutes. Got to play till the final whistle. They couldn't. 3-2 win for LAFC. Dallas winners, of course, on PKs against Minnesota. And Austin, same. PKs over RSL. That sets up Copa Tejas on Sunday, and then we'll see what that October 30th match is at Bank of California Stadium. LAFC move on tonight, and we move on this show as well. Let's talk Audi Goals Drive Progress. The program is back for another year of playoff soccer. For every goal scored in the Audi MLS Cup playoffs, $2,000 will be contributed to the Audi Goals Drive Progress Fund, directly supporting MLS youth academies. Thanks to 21 goals scored so far, including 6 tonight, $42,000 has been donated. $2,000 for every goal, and more goals to come in these Audi 2022 MLS Cup playoffs. Big thanks to Audi. Goals drive progress, and they're doing so at the academy level, of course. And do not forget, you can visit BR Football's Instagram page and tune in to the Driving Force story for match previews and highlights of the Audi MLS Cup playoffs for the most electric moments. Saw a couple of those tonight. Denny Bawanga, I'd file that under there. Dejan Joveljic. Man, maybe he should have been on the field a little bit earlier. Maybe his first touch, scoring a big goal for LA Galaxy. It was not going to be the difference, though. That was Chicho Arango getting the job done. Go over to BR Football on Instagram and check out those moments. And now let's turn the page. Let's talk Philly Cincinnati. As you see the Eastern Conference there, Philly ahead into that conference final. We'll wait and see on Sunday, the early game, NYCFC Montreal, who will move on, who will get the opportunity to go to Chester, TBD. But here are the highlights from that match earlier in the day, a 1-0 win for the Philadelphia Union. And a big one for them. This is unfinished business, as I said. They are the beast of the East. They were the beast of the East all season long. And Cincinnati, in a lot of ways, Charlie, are their little brother. Couple guys on the sideline, Pat Noonan, yeah. Chris Albright. You got Sergio Santos coming off the bench. Cincy trying to copy, but they didn't quite get the copy right in this one, even though it was a little bit physical and the Oscars came out.
This was a lot more physical than a brother and brother relationship would be.
What kind of relationship you got with your brother?
No, he's got
wait a minute.
This was hardcore, but it was a very competitive match from both sides. I thought Cincinnati had some good opportunities, but Andre Blake showed why he is the MVP of this team. He stood tall. I mean, I look at that moment for Brendan Vasquez towards the end of the game. Jack Elliott misses the clearance. He gets through. He gets in behind, and Andre Blake comes up big for his team, time in and time out. This is just an incredible goalkeeper. And look at this. I mean, fantastic.
A little deflection there, too, by the way. I think there's a little deflection that he has the time. Philly pushing. Here's how the goal comes, Calen. What a finish in the end by Leon Flock.
Yeah, I mean, it was nice build-up play, and then Carranza kind of digs it out to keep it alive. But, yeah, Flock, I mean, the way this bounces up on him and is coming across his body. So to be able to just technically get around that, he almost kind of slices it inside out into the far corner. I mean, incredible technique there from Flock, who hadn't scored a goal all year. So what a time to step up in a big way. And boy, he took his chance well.
What about that technique, Charlie? You got that in your bag?
I was born with that in my bag.
I don't know. I don't think
with the left.
Don't give me that.
Well, they push and push. I think Andre Blake was born with this in his bag. He's getting down low, making saves. Lucho, maybe just not quite at the level we've seen this year, near MVP levels, Doyle. And Cincinnati huffed and puffed, but they just could not find a way past.
No, they couldn't. They kind of ran out of ideas. Once it was clear that Lucho didn't quite have it, it was basically all just try to get out on the break or try to bend it across. And you got to give Cincinnati a lot of credit, because even doing that, they put that Union back line, which is so good, under a ton of pressure. They forced a bunch out of Andre Blake. But this was, in the end, I think the better team won. The Union, what they've done all year, they're the second best defensive team in league history. And they showed it tonight. They have this ability when things aren't going great, when it's axe handles and machetes at 10 paces, as it was all night tonight, they have the ability to keep the zero. This time of year, I'm not sure that there are many more valuable things.
If you keep the zero and Leon Flock is scoring, Well, those are good signs.
Yeah.
And you're moving on.
I warned you guys in the pregame. I said, without Ali Bedoya, it's going to have to be Leon Flock getting forward and getting into those spots. I didn't expect him to score a
I was gonna
goal.
say, are you calling?
Yeah,
you
hold on
called
now.
the Leon Flock goal?
No, I just said he had to make an. I just said he had to make an impression in the
Okay.
final third. He
And
certainly
what an
did.
impression he made. Jillian Sakovits had a wonderful conversation with him after this match in Chester.
Leon, there was one goal in this game, and it was yours. Take me through it.
Yeah, I mean, it's an unusual situation for me, honestly. I said to my dad before the game, I'd probably save my goals for the playoffs. It was a great assist by Mika. He saw me, and I was just trying to shoot the ball however it came. And I mean, yeah, I was also surprised, if I'm honest. But yeah, I don't care. Great goal, and I would say it was an important goal because that's playoffs. One goal decides a game, and yeah, just happy.
Take me through running into your manager, Jim Curtin's arms.
I mean, I had no clue where I should run because, like I said, it's not a normal feeling for me. But I mean, he was the guy who gave me a chance. I came from Germany, not playing like a lot of minutes, and yeah, he trusts me every game. And I mean, I'm so thankful to be part of this team and also to have this guy as my coach, but also Ernst as a sporting director, but the whole staff, whole team. I mean, just a great team, and it's just great to be part of it.
Jim Curtin said unfinished business now in the Eastern Conference final. How do you react to that?
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I mean, we were really close last year, and then we were a little bit unlucky with COVID. And I think we really have unfinished business this year because I think we played a great regular season. But in the end, playoffs are probably the most important part of the season, and it comes down to playoffs, showing what you can do in the playoffs. And yeah, unfinished business, and the cup is the goal.
All right, a special goal you'll always remember. Who do you dedicate it to?
My family, but also my grandma. She died in May, so it was a hard time. But yeah, especially my family because they support me so much. My friends as well. They came to visit me so much, and yeah, just my family, my friends who supported me the whole time, watch every game. So, hi to my family and thank you.
Thanks for sharing that. Sorry for your loss, and Dankeschön.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
What a wonderful interview from Jillian there. Let's take a closer look at Leon's goal, Doyle, and we're going to rewind this thing back because you get focused on the finish, and some people are born with it. Some people just have to break it out in playoff action. But there's much more that goes into this than just that final touch.
Yeah, the Union get pegged as kind of an energy drink soccer team, very direct and all that, but they have this as well, and you can see they really worked to clear out this side. This was 4 or 5 passes to sort of rearrange the Cincy midfield, and once they have that side cleared out, then it becomes a 2-man game where Jack McGlynn is able to release Gazdag, and Cincy do a good job of scrambling, but then at this point, the Union have multiple players in the box to repress. And that is the Union's game, right? It's not all long ball, chase, and then press off the long ball. They're very comfortable. If you take that away from them, they're very comfortable building from the back. And it's one of the things that Jack McGlynn, in particular, the 19-year-old homegrown, came from their academy. He's very good in those situations because he's kind of a natural field general. He brings to this team some of what Harris Medunjanin used to bring to that midfield, except McGlynn's a little bit more mobile than Medunjanin is. So he's done it in the final third, and you could see what that added here. It doesn't go down as a long 15-pass buildup like what the Galaxy or LAFC did, or Montreal or NYCFC, but it's based off the same principle, the ability to use the ball to disorganize the opposition, to get multiple runners in the box, to get a goal out of that. It's Philadelphia Union. It's how they play. Not all the time, but when they have to, they can use it to win a playoff game.
Now, look, you get one goal and you win, Charlie, and ultimately that means that you have to make plays on the other end. And Philly been doing that all year. And when they look to make a play or to cover up a blush or to make sure that that little moment doesn't become a big one, it's always Andre Blake. He's the longest tenured player on the team. He is your 2022 All-State Goalkeeper of the Year. He was a difference maker in this game. And there's a reason why they chant MVP at Chester for this man.
He is phenomenal. I've gotten to see him in training, making saves upper 90 like it's easy, like it's child's play. He's just a phenomenal goalkeeper that even if he's won 3 goalkeepers of the year, I still think he's underrated. I still don't think he gets the credit he deserves. He's phenomenal. And, you could talk about his feet. Is he a great with his feet? It doesn't matter because he makes saves like this. Just always standing on his head. He has the ability to lean one way and still push off and get to the opposite corner. And in this case, a lot of keepers are cheating to the far post there. He's leaning, but he's still able to not only get to the near post, but still make that fingertip save high at the near post. And then this save against Lucho Acosta, not giving up a rebound, parrying it wide. Just, I think where he's improved the most is his aerial game. Before, if there was ever crosses, he was very shaky. That's where he's improved the most over the past few years. And this was the biggest save of the match. Down low, far post, Brandon Vasquez in behind Jack Elliott. No problem for the captain. Hey, one time for the brethren.
That's the one that stood out to me too, because of the timing of it and because Elliott slips. And we've talked about how good this Philly defense is, but at some point, something's going to go wrong, right? And when you do have something go wrong, Blake is there to fix it. And, I think Vasquez hit it well. But Chuck, we played with guys that are good goalkeepers. And I always say, the good ones make the saves that you would expect them to make. The great ones will pull one out that you're like, whoa, we were not expecting that. Thank you, man. Blake does it so naturally that I just expect him to save everything. Like, he's just become so unstoppable that, he's really become a match winner to himself. And they've added more in the attack, but I still think, they've got a match winner, but in some ways he's in net. It's a little bit different. They have other guys that can do it, but I think we didn't get a chance to see them go all the way full force last year in the Cup final, and Leon Flock mentioned that. So I'm excited to see what this Philly team can do down the stretch.
2 award winners on the back line and in goal. Jacob Glesnes won Defender of the Year. The All-State Goalkeeper of the Year for the 3rd time ever is Andre Blake, and he stands alone at the top of that list as a 3-time winner. Andre Blake, 2016, 2020, 2022. You got Donovan Ricketts. He got 2. Pat Onstad got 2. Joe Cannon got 2. Zach Thornton got 2, 10 years apart. That in itself is incredible, Doyle. At what point do we start saying that Andre Blake is the best goalkeeper in MLS history? Is that point now, or is that point coming, or is that way too early to have that conversation?
I think people can say it now, and they certainly have a leg to stand on. He's not over and above, right? He's in that top tier. Guys like Stephen Fry, Nick Raimondo, Kevin Hartman,
Tim
what
Howard.
He did. I mean, but then it goes
Matt
question
Turner.
with guys like Howard and Turner is like, were they here long enough, right? And that's the nature of these types of debates. I would say that of the guys who are like spent their whole career in MLS, and that includes Fry, Raimondo, Hartman, I personally think that Blake is already the best of them, but it's not going to go down as he won't go down as the best if he doesn't win an MLS Cup. Like that's just the way our culture is. It's a rings culture type of thing. If Andre Blake leads this Union team to an MLS Cup, you'll hear a lot more talk of him being the best goalkeeper in MLS history, and you'll see a lot more people nodding when they say it.
And look, he may just do that. Another game in Chester. They haven't lost this year on the banks of the Delaware. In Philly, they had another one. They might have another one depending on what happens to LAFC. Jim Curtin said after this game, it's an honor to coach Andre Blake. Jillian Sakovitz caught up with Jim Curtin after this win.
All right, Jim, the Philadelphia Union are heading back to the Eastern Conference Final. How does that sound?
Yeah, a little bit unfinished business. I know the guys, the way the season ended last year was unfortunate, so they have that in their mind. Obviously, it was a really hard-fought game. Cincinnati was really good tonight. Wasn't a beautiful game by any stretch, but this is what playoff games look like. So, yeah, now two good performances away from our goal, which is MLS Cup.
And what about the atmosphere here tonight? It was incredibly loud, and the Union have managed to turn this place into a bit of a fortress.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah, look, I think our last 10 games here, we won by a combined probably close to 45 goals, and we knew tonight would be different, though. Cincinnati knows us very well. They play with 2 strikers, which gives us problems, and overall we were able to bend but not break, which is the name of the game, survive and advance, and playoffs it's the most fun time of the year, and you can tell by the crowd that was here tonight, what's going on with the Phillies, what's going on with the Eagles right now, and now the Philadelphia Union. Everybody's excited in the city, and you can really feel the energy.
Can you take me through that moment when Leon Flock came running over to you and gave you that big hug?
Well, he's the last guy we all expected to score, that's for sure, and it was just a great moment for him. I'm really proud of him because he's such a a great player that maybe does so many things that don't show up on the stat sheet. So for him to score the game-winning goal and a really high-quality goal, I'm really happy for him because he's such a great player.
And finally, Jim, a lot of full circle moments tonight here with Chris Albright, Pat Noonan. Where did this game rank for you emotionally?
It's tough. We miss those guys. There's no question about it. What they're doing in Cincinnati is incredible. I'll call Cincinnati a sleeping giant because Chris has done amazing things there. Pat's an incredible coach. And maybe more than anything, they're just good people. And I think that's kind of gets forgotten in pro sports these days. There's a lot of, I won't use the word, a lot of not so good people in the game, and those are two of the good ones, and it's no coincidence that they're winning.
Jim, we'll see you next weekend.
Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye, Jim.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Oh, Jim alluded glass bowls, you might say. But look, not in Cincinnati, maybe a sleeping giant, Charlie. What do you think about that assessment? Where can Cincy go?
Cincy's going to have to improve the back line, but this is a team that I see competing for many Eastern Conference championships just because of the way they're set up with that front three. They're dangerous. And I feel like they've addressed the midfield when they got Wobodo. He really, he's all over the place. You see him making tackles, sometimes lacks discipline because he leaves that big void when he does go out chasing the ball. Similar to what Tyler Adams used to be with the Red Bulls, just very eager to win every challenge and every tackle. And that's just not possible. But for me, it's the back line. You got Miazga, but the two other center backs have to pull their weight. And I do suspect that Cincinnati is going to be a contender for a long time.
Yeah, we watched a ton of soccer, right? We watch so much MLS, and reliably every weekend we all want to watch FC Cincinnati because they play entertaining, exciting, attacking soccer. And the question was, well, was that winning? Is that a winning formula for them? Because they had to fight to get into the playoffs on the last day. I think they proved a lot getting into the playoffs, getting that first playoff win. And then even today, I felt going toe-to-toe against a team that had been unbeaten at home or still is unbeaten at home for 18 matches. Like, they went toe-to-toe with those guys. You saw the physicality, the toughness of the team. And if it wasn't for a couple big time saves by Andre Blake, who knows? So I think this Cincinnati team, as far as proving their winning culture, proved a lot today and over the last couple weeks.
All right, let's turn the page back to the Union. I mean, they're the ones moving on. They're the 1 seed. They're going to play at home. Here's their their playoff history in Philly. In the last 4 years, they've made it 5 overall appearances in the postseason. In 2018, out in the first round. 2019, out in the quarters. 2020, they were the number 1 seed, the Shield winners, out in the first round, lost to New England. Last year, the 2nd seed, they had the pandemic issue. They had players counted out. They did not win in the conference final at home against NYCFC. 2022, Doyle, big question marks. Just like LAFC, they have big expectations. Can they meet them?
Yeah, I think they can. I picked the Union to win at the start of the playoffs. And this game, this was not an easy game, but they seem to have a different gear on both sides of the ball than I think most teams in this league. So I think that they're going to meet expectations. They do have match winners in Ura and Carranza and Gazdag, and I guess Leon Flock now as well. But that's the essence of great teams. You guys have played on great teams, and those teams find a way to even when they're not playing great, they scratch and claw, and someone comes up with a big play. Tonight for the Union, it was Leon Flock. Next week, who knows? Maybe next week they'll have another one of those 4-0 outings because they had a bunch of those this year. And they have a level of flexibility and a different way of beating almost every team that they come up against. And teams like that tend to do really well this time of year.
The thing I like the best of that stat was quarterfinals, or they get into the playoffs, quarterfinals, they go up another step, then they win the Supporter Shield. Yeah. Last year then they could get dropped out, right? But we've seen that happen to a lot of Supporter Shield winners. Then they go to the conference final, and they all mentioned unfinished business. So there's only one thing left.
One thing. Let's see their path. We know who their opponent will be, at least who it might be. It's NYCFC or Montreal, Charlie. Who do they want more?
I'm going to say New York City FC for revenge reasons. Unfinished business. You heard what Jim Curtin said there. Montreal, they can be a big problem. I think just the way they're set up, their formation tactically, that could cause a lot of problems to the Union. And I just think in terms of counterattack, Kyoto with him being, I think, possibly fit for that game, Lapalainen, Alistair Johnson, just Kai Kamara just being a presence in the air. I think Montreal might be a little bit more difficult if they do get past New York City FC. But in terms of that rivalry between New York City and the revenge factor for knocking them out last year and being that close, knowing that, I've had many conversations with Alejandro Bedoya when he's like, man, we should have won MLS Cup last year. That was our opportunity. If they get it again, they're not allowing it to slip away. So I think they want New York City FC if they had to choose.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda. That's what they're thinking in Cincinnati tonight. That's what the Galaxy are thinking. What if? Well, that's not what LAFC and Philly.
Sorry, I thought you were mentioning your bracket there, Wiebe.
Oh no! I cut that part of the show.
Oh, I didn't hear you.
I mean, he was talking so much pregame. I couldn't help it.
I was waiting for does anybody have any perfect brackets?
That's not for me. I had the Galaxy going all the way, so a bunch of red X's on that side. Maybe I still got the Montreal Impact, but yeah, look, perfection's overrated. It can't be perfect all the time. We will see what happens on Sunday. That will set up the conference finals. Right now, 6 teams remaining. Soon it'll be 4, down to 2, and that'll be MLS Cup on November 5th. So there you see it. The 1 seeds move on. No big rest this year. They took advantage at home as you thought they might, unless you were me, of course. And then we'll wait and see on Sunday. Copa Tejas, Dallas, Austin, NYCFC, Montreal. Big thank you to everybody who joined us tonight in the wrap-up after these conference semifinals. We'll be back on Sunday for more coverage of the Audi 2022 MLS Cup playoffs. In the meantime, have a great evening, everyone. We'll send you on your way. Adios.